Hello everyone, my name is Chris McIntosh. I help teach the capstone courses. Today we're talking about the available knowledge section of your paper. We're working on the final paper portion of your capstone. In this video, we'll cover elements of the introduction to your paper. Available knowledge is a level 2 APA heading in this paper. We'll discuss guidance about how to write this section in the Squire guidelines and in the paper template. The available knowledge section discusses what is currently known about the problem, including relevant previous studies. The Squire explanation and elaboration page provides a nice example and additional explanations. Note the examples they provide don't follow APA formatting. You will need to use APA formatting for this paper. The explanation section highlights the importance of citing relevant studies and evidence. You should be citing literature to back up your assertions in this section. The focus of this section is more general than just the local setting. You should be comparing local practices to more general practices published in the literature. The explanation section points out that quality improvement work can be conducted on a regional or national level, so the term local can be interpreted more generally. Improvement work can also address a gap in knowledge rather than quality. I have provided more guidance in the instructions for the available knowledge section of the paper template. Things to consider in this section are similar to those in the problem description section, but they have a more systematic focus instead of just local. Items in this section should be backed up with literature citations. Some things to think about when developing the available knowledge for your capstone project include what is currently known about the problem in general. Use your clinical background to help determine what may be clinically relevant in this situation. What is published about who is affected? What are the published impacts of the problem? What is published about how those impacts affect individuals? When is it a problem? Why does it matter? What are the costs or other negative impacts of the problem as described in the literature? How prevalent is the problem, or how many people are affected? Has a cause been identified? Are there any formal standards related to the problem? What will happen if this problem is not addressed? You should cite the literature you find to answer the previous questions. I discussed these items in the last video, but I'm including them here to remind you the resources are available. You can see a fuller description in the notes for these slides. There are many places to search for literature. Most researchers are familiar with tools at the library, PubMed, and Google Scholar. I maintain a growing list of AI literature search tools at the link listed in the slide. I try to keep notes on AI literature tools I run across. Some sites are good for asking general research questions and getting answers that include valid references. Some will even suggest alternative search questions to help you find what you're looking for. Some sites will show you literature networks if you start with a seed citation. They show you works that are cited by your seed article and works that cite your seed article. It is a good way to get an idea of how literature on a topic has evolved over time and finding recent updates. Semantic Scholar uses a more traditional keyword search. Sourcely may help you find sources for assertions used in your paper. Additional tools and more notes are available at the link I provided in the previous slide. I addressed these editing suggestions in the previous presentation, but you should be following the same editing process for all sections of your paper, so I will include the suggestions here also. You can see a fuller description in the notes for this slide in the PowerPoint. I also discussed this editing process in the last presentation, and I'm leaving the notes here so you can have it as a resource should you need it when you're editing this section. You should go through all of the same editing steps with this section of your paper that I instructed you on in the last paper, and I've left these slides in this presentation so it's available to look at. You can see a more complete description in the notes for this PowerPoint slide. And again, these were discussed in the last paper. Should also be editing for grammar and style, clarity and conciseness, and consistent tone. The writing in the available knowledge section should be supported by literature citations. While I endorse ChatGPT and other AI tools for editing purposes, I strongly caution you about using them to make up content. If you ask ChatGPT for references, it will make up fake references to provide you with an answer. Do not use any reference in your paper that you have not actually looked up yourself. I check all references. If I find references in your paper that I can't look up myself, you will lose all credit for your assignment. Using non-existent or fake references will be considered academic dishonesty. Making assertions in your paper that are not backed up by literature citations where they should be can be considered plagiarism. That's all we'll do in this video. There is more to come. Here are the references for this presentation.